Okay, here we go. Surface area of composite solids. Composite just means more than one put together. And so we have sort of a triangular prism and a rectangular prism put together here to make one solid that kind of looks like a house. And it has not been drawn perfectly. This triangle is not probably the line should have been here or somewhere instead of over here, but we're going to assume that this side and this side are the same length. So they're both 3. This edge is 10 all the way around, and the height here of this one is 3 and 8 across the front, and then this triangle is 2 high. So again, you just have to find the surface area, you add up all the sides. Find area of all sides and add them up. So we have the triangular prism first, plus the rectangular prism, okay, so the surface area is just all of the sides added up. So we're going to just start finding sides. So we add or sum all sides. Okay, so if we start here with this rectangle, there's one on the front and there's one that we can't see on the back. So that's 8 times 3. And then 8 times 3 is 24 again. And that's the front and back. And then the left and the right are going to be the same. This is 3 times 10. And then 3 times 10. It doesn't look like a 30, it almost looks like 50. Let's make sure we can make that look right. And so that's the left and the right. So, and then there's a bottom, which is going to be 8 by 10. And that takes care of that because we don't have to do the top. Now this front of this triangle is 1/2 base times height. 1/2 of the base, 1/2 base times height is 1/2 times 8 times 2. That's this triangle right here. 1/2 times 8 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So that's 1/2 of 8 times 2 equals 8. And then the same thing again. Alright, so that's the front and back of the triangular prism, and now this left side is going to be 3 times 10. And then this other side, I guess this is the right side and this would be the left side, is also 3 times 10 is 30. And I put 10 up here, but it's really 30. Okay, so then we just have to add all those up. And this is 48. This is 60. We'll just bring the 80 over, and 8 and 8 is 16, and 30 and 30 is 60. And we could bring, it could be kind of fun to add the 60s together and get 120. And then we just bring in this 80. Oh, that 80 makes 200. That's 200, and then we still have a 48 and a 16 to add, and 8 plus 6 is 14, 264. So the surface area is 264 units squared. Not too bad. We worked all that out and kind of just did it on paper and showed what we did. Now, sometimes you're going to get something that looks a little different, a little harder, and we'll see what happens if we try to make this is a cylinder. And the cylinder, what happens if the cylinder has a cone on top? Okay, what do we need to know? Well, we need to know this radius, and it should be the same for both. And we need to know the slant length. Say this slant length is 5 yards. And the height is 5 yards. And the radius is 3 yards. Alright, so then how do we do that? We have to remember how to find the area of the circumference, the area of the cylinder, the surface area of the cylinder, but we just need the bottom and the lateral side. We don't need the top. So the bottom area, and this basically all you have to do, you just have to remember the area of a circle is pi r squared, so it's 3.14 times 3 squared, which is times 9. 3.14 times 9, if I can get back to my calculator, is 28.26. So that's the bottom. And then the side, the lateral side, is going to be, let's see, we have to have the height, which is 5 times the circumference. And the circumference is 2 pi r. That gives us the distance around the circle times the height. Okay? And then we put that in the calculator. R is 3, so it's 2 times pi times 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15, times 2 is 30, so it's 30 times 3.14, which is pi, which is 94.2 yards squared. So there we go on that one, and then that gives us the lateral side and the bottom, but now we still need the cone part, and that one is one that we worked on before, and the cone itself is pi times the radius times L, which is the lateral height. I don't know if you remember that. Pi times R is the radius times the lateral height. There we go. So the radius again is 3.14 for pi times the radius, which is 3, times the lateral height, which is 5. I'm kind of checking in my book to make sure that we're getting the right answer here. 3.14 times 15, because 3 times 5 is 15, is 47.1. And then we end up adding those together. Okay, we can add our zeros just so that we make sure that it all works. 12 and 7 is 19, and 9 plus 1 is 10. 16. 169.56 yards squared would be the surface area of this cone. And again, the cone, you have to remember that from the book. And that's going to be the thing that's kind of hard, is how do you find some of those surface areas. You can look those up, and even when we get to the test, I'll probably either give you a list or let you write them down. Alright, have fun with this one.